So you think Iran isn't our problem? Look, I get why it's easy to feel like this is a them problem. It's comfortable to think that if we just step back, the world would stop spinning so violently. But when you say America should keep out because it's not your problem, you're ignoring a 40-year trail of blood that leads directly to your doorstep. This isn't a theory, it's a ledger. You think this started with us? Go back to 1983 in Beirut. That wasn't an Israeli target. That was the US Marine barracks. Hezbollah, Iran's primary proxy, built and funded by the IRGC, drove a truck full of explosives into a building full of peacekeepers. They killed 241 American servicemen in their sleep. That was the deadliest single-day toll for the Marines since Iwo Jima. Iran didn't do that because of a border dispute in the Galilee. They did it to break America's will to exist in the Middle East. And it didn't stop in the 80s. Fast forward to the Iraq War. While your politicians were debating strategy in DC, Iranian made EFPs, those specialized roadside bombs designed specifically to punch through American tank armor, were flooding across the border. Those weren't insurgent toys, they were sophisticated military hardware provided by Tehran. They're responsible for the deaths of hundreds of American soldiers and the maiming of thousands more. When an American vet walks down the street in your hometown with a prosthetic limb, there's a very high statistical probability that the technology that took his leg was stamped "Made in Iran." We can talk about Khobar Towers in Saudi Arabia, where 19 US airmen were murdered in a dormitory. We can talk about the 2011 plot to assassinate the Saudi ambassador right in the middle of Washington, D.C., at a restaurant where your senators eat lunch. This isn't Israel's war that you're being dragged into. This is a global campaign where America is the ultimate prize, and Israel is just the most convenient obstacle. You say, why should we care? I'll tell you why. Because while you're busy trying to keep out, they are busy moving in. They aren't just in the Middle East anymore. Look at what's happening in South America, the networks they've built in places like Venezuela, the money laundering, the recruitment. They are operating in your hemisphere, targeting your interests, and waiting for the moment you're too distracted to notice. This idea that if America leaves the room becomes peaceful, it's a fantasy. If you leave the room, the guy who has been screaming death to America for 4 decades doesn't go home. He takes the lead. He decides who gets to sail through the Persian Gulf. He decides which of your allies lives or dies. He decides the price of the energy that runs your world. I'm not saying this because I want to see more boots on the ground. God knows I've seen enough of that. But I'm saying it because not our problem is exactly what they want you to believe. It's the sedative they give you while they're sharpening the knife. You aren't doing Israel a favor by standing firm against Tehran. You're doing yourself the favor of not waiting until the next 1983 or the next Iraq happens on your own soil. You're my friend, and I don't want to see you learn that lesson the hard way. The fire is already burning, and pretending you don't smell the smoke doesn't mean your house isn't at risk.